let's go to Penn State. Penn State, they are plus 240 to win this conference. I feel like, honestly, they're the real favorite in this conference. They have a lot of the returning production. They bring in all these new receivers for Drew Aller. Tyler Warren gone. I know that's a big deal. Some big guys are gone on the defense. But this is all about two people, Drew Aller and James Franklin. Can they get it done in a year with no excuses? This is it. This is the moment Penn State football has been building up to for years now, and it is now or never. In my mind, it is national title or bust for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Connor, what do you feel about Penn State this season?
I think you're right. For everything to line up like this, to get this much returning production on the offensive end, both your backs, Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen, are back from last year after having 2,700 yards, 27 total touchdowns. They led the Big Ten in rushing last year. Drew Aller's back. This is the year for Drew Aller. And the rest of the conference is, I don't want to say a toss-up, but this is their best shot to win in a while, I would say. Like, the rest of this Big Ten conference is beatable. And for us to sit here and say Penn State's probably the favorite because of all the questions with Ohio State, that's not something we usually say about Penn State. And you look at James Franklin, last 3 years, Penn State is 34-2 as a favorite, 27-0 as a 6+ point favorite, 0-6 as an underdog. That's the story every single year with this Penn State team. Can they get over the hump? And we'll dive into it. 4 offensive line starters are back from that conference-leading rushing attack. The wide receiver group gets an overhaul. Their top returning receiver, I think, is Liam Clifford, who had 18 catches. But 3 new starters there, led by Kyron Hudson from USC. I think this is the year for Penn State. The non-con's a joke. Nevada, FIU, Villanova. The only thing with this is, guys, Drew Aller can't just be a top 20, top 15, pretty good quarterback, above average quarterback. Drew Aller has to take that next step to be a top 5 quarterback and push this Penn State team over the top. Otherwise, their ceiling is one college football playoff win. That's what it is. Unless Drew Aller ascends to that top 5, top 6 quarterback in the country and pushes them over the top, which I think this is the year to do it. So this is my Big Ten winner is Penn State this year. I'm buying in. This is the year for them. I'm going to say 10-2, maybe 11-1. But even if they're 10-2, I like them to win this conference.
It's kind of hard to argue for the Big Ten because you're comparing them to these other teams. Every other team has a massive unknown at the quarterback position,
right?
Unless you go to the Fighting Illini in Champaign, Dylan. But they're kind of the safest bet in this conference, in my opinion, Dylan.
I'm kind of in lockstep with you guys. And this is, I think, the biggest conversation that is going to be had about Penn State is what is required from James Franklin in order to obtain this job security. And I've always been very staunch believer in college football, you do have so many people at the top. And when you play in the Big Ten, which historically has had good Michigan teams, Ohio State's been the top dog. You get Oregon that comes in and was good last year. It is tough to be in that mix often. Sometimes it's just variance. It's not a coaching thing. It's not a talent thing. It's just there are so many teams in the mix. What are you going to do? But it does feel like this year, I'm not going to go quite as far to say you need a national championship in order to vilify things at Happy Valley. But I think winning the Big Ten almost has to be the bare minimum. Or making the playoffs, getting into the playoff. And I understand that's kind of similar to what they did last year. But I think if you can replicate that success, that is almost the bar that needs to be met. But James Franklin is by far the coach with the most, I say the most on the line. I don't think his job's at risk. It just feels like he's the one coach this year that needs that national championship breakout or that playoff run breakout. That's personally what I believe.
I don't think his job's on the line at all. Unless he did a Mike Norvell and went 2-10, like some disastrous thing like that. But no, I don't even think this comes down to James Franklin as much. I think this is all on Drew Aller. Because, let's be honest, name one time Drew Aller has played well against a big-time opponent. He hasn't. He's never played well against a big-time opponent. Not once.
And this is, I'm telling you, with this year, with both running backs back, they're still going to lean on that run game. He's not going to be asked to do everything for this Penn State team.
Yeah.
So he has to do more with what he's given. They didn't take a lot of downfield shots last year.
When you play against these other big-time opponents, That's my problem with the quarterback conversation. We talk about this with these guys with limited ceilings is that in these bigger games, in these big-time moments, you have to have a quarterback that can do it. You have to have a quarterback that can make the big-time throws. And he's played in these big-time games over and over and over again and has not done it once.
I think my one reservation about Penn State, we talked about the offensive line bringing back the returners. This is a fine run-blocking offensive line. Pass blocking, they were 88th, I think, in their pass block rate. And I think Drew Aller does start to feel some of the effects of that. And I don't think that's going to get much better this year. That's my one piece of contention. The run game's going to be strong. You overhaul the wide receiver room, which has always been an issue at Penn State. But this defense, let's keep in mind, Jim Knowles took a lateral movement to come in and run this defense. A defense that it's not like he's going into Ohio State and overhauling a bad defense like he did in 2021. He's coming into Penn State, and he's got stuff to work with already. So this is going to be interesting. I think you're right, but I also don't know if, like you said, Connor, Drew Aller might not be asked to put on Heisman-level performances. I think it's just going to be defense.
He doesn't need to. We're not asking for Heisman level. I'm asking for above average in these big games. I mean, go back through all these big-time games and go through it. He's been bad. He's just been flat out bad in these big moments. Ohio State, 12 of 20, 146, no touchdowns, interception. You want to go QBR? He had a 32.7 QBR in that game. Notre Dame, 12 of 23, 135 in the air, no touchdowns, one interception. That's not good enough.
I think I don't have the data on hand. I wish I did. I would lean towards maybe that's not as much of a talent issue on Drew Eller's part, but more so the offensive line. Because this wasn't a great pass-blocking offensive line. He never had any weapons at wide receiver, ever. His top receiver
let's not pretend Tyler Warren was some bum.
Carter, why don't you let me finish, buddy, okay? Listen, you're cutting stuff. Tyler Warren was a great pass-catching option. He had no wide receivers. He was Julian Fleming. That was his what we're doing here. So I understand what you're saying about Drew Aller. What I'm saying is, even if he has an average year, this defense is going to be amazing. The run game is going to be amazing. I think that is going to be enough to put them in contention for a Big Ten championship. I think that's going to be enough to put them in contention for a national championship. However, I am wagering on the fact that Drew Aller is going to continue to get better because he has continued to get better every year he's been a starter at Penn State. So the offensive line's an issue. That's my one piece of contention with Penn State. You return a lot of guys, not a great pass blocking unit, but I love this Penn State team. They're my pick to win the conference.
Has he gotten better year to year?
He has gotten better year to year. Let's take a look.
Because I feel like it was from 23 to 24, it was kind of about the same.
About a plateau.
It didn't get worse.
It was the same.
Yeah, but the same as an 86, 87 PFF grade. The same isn't.
But
2,000 yards and a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio.
But that's what I've been saying. That's the problem. He's making his grades. He's stat padding his grade against Northwestern, against UMass, against these random crap schools that you play, or the bottom of the barrel in the Big Ten. Guess what? His grade plummets when you go against Ohio State, Michigan, any other good team.
That's a crazy concept. You play worse against better teams.
Yeah, but that's the problem.
Play the breaking news noise for KarterKast.
That's what I'm saying though. I would understand. We've had 2-year sample size of this. He's played in 5-6 big time games against bigger opponents. And guess what? How come he hasn't done it once? One time win as an underdog. One time step up into these big games against Ohio State, Michigan, even Oregon. Step up once. Notre Dame, step up once and win that game. He hasn't done it once, and he hasn't looked good in those games once.
He's had no receivers. He's never had any receivers. Outside of Tyler Warren, he's never had them. And listen, this year, we got 3 new guys here.
I can agree with the wide receiver point, but that's kind of what I'm saying is I don't really James Franklin. I don't think his job or any of that should be in question. I know that's going to be the narrative in the media of James Franklin jokes again, whatever. I think it's really on Drew Aller.
I think that's fair. I don't think that's crazy, but I also don't think that You're talking about these drop-offs between playing the better team. It's not like he's going from being a 90-rated quarterback to a 40-rated quarterback.
He kind of is.
He isn't. It's 70s. It's 75s. It isn't like he just shows up and he's the worst quarterback in the world. And given that, he hasn't even had the weapons. He hasn't had the offensive line. Now, I don't think he has the offensive line this year, but I seriously think that this is a team. Give me the Big Ten. I love the defense. The offensive line is going to be an issue. You at least make an effort to solve some wide receiver issues. I love this Penn State team. I did Drew Aller for Heisman as well. I did it.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
The thing is, you guys talk about the weapons, and I think that's a very fair point. But if Penn State's down 4 points with 90 seconds left, and they can't run the ball, they have to throw the ball down the field 80 yards. You going to trust Drew Aller this year or not? Because that's going to be the difference in them winning a national title or making the playoff and losing the first round.
So here's an interesting question. Who in the Big Ten would you trust more? What quarterback in the Big Ten would you trust more to make those throws?
And that's my point, and that's why Penn State's my winner. And it's not because...
I think that's very... Yep.
And it's because it's the safest bet. They don't have to play Michigan. They play at Ohio State, and then they play home Oregon. But to be honest, we'll get into Oregon here in a minute. I'm not a big Oregon fan this year. It's an easy non-conference. Honestly, anything less than 10-2 in the regular season is a massive disappointment in my mind. This team should be at minimum 11-0, even flirting with being undefeated, even though I don't think they're winning the national championship.
I think that's fair. And losing Tyler Warren, don't get me wrong, sucks on all levels. Losing Tyler Warren sucks, but I think the new weapons at wide receiver kind of offset that. I think that's going to make up for it, make it not sting as much. And the defense, another UNC guy, Maury Campbell, linebacker, another bright spot for the Tar Heels last year.
Does every team have a UNC guy on a bad UNC defense?
There was probably like 3 or 4 guys on that Carolina defense that I think can make some waves somewhere else. But he was pretty damn good last year at linebacker, outside linebacker.
81.3 pass rush grade.
Yeah, no, he was good. I think he had, I wrote down the stats. Yeah, 11.5 sacks, or no. I don't know what he had last year. He was good, though. 6.5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss. That's what it was.
Somehow, someway, everybody's just like, so we got this Carolina defender, Jamari Judkins, and yeah, he had 7.5 sacks last year, and I really like him from this Carolina defense. I'm like, I thought this Carolina defense gave up 70 points to JMU. What are we talking about here?
They did, and some injuries. You know, Matt Brown coach team.
Yeah, it was a Mac Brown coach team. We had Joe Biden at the wheel in Carolina.
No, but yeah, last thing on Penn State. How about Jim Knowles, Dylan, leaving the Buckeyes off a national championship, going in conference to take the same position? What?
Lateral move.
What happened? Yeah.
Lateral
I don't know what happened there.
Trouble in paradise in Columbus.
Writing on the wall. He saw the writing on the wall.
You know, Epstein file's about to be released. I need to get out of here.
Oh, man.
Penn State. That was some good. That was good Penn State stuff.